Waitress said, "Sir, my mother has a ring like yours." The billionaire froze when he heard it. The silver ring slipped from the billionaire's hand as he reached for his coffee. It hit the table with a sharp metallic sound that made the young waitress glance down. The moment her eyes landed on the unusual family crest engraved on the ring, every color drained from her face. Her hands trembled as she whispered something that stopped the successful businessman from breathing. She quietly revealed that her mother had worn an identical ring for over 25 years, claiming it was the only memory of the men who had once promised to return. In that tiny roadside diner, surrounded by the smell of fresh coffee and pancakes, one forgotten secret threatened to change two lives forever. If you believe kindness, forgiveness, and second chances can change lives, please take a moment to like this video, comment where you're watching from, share it with someone who believes in hope, and subscribe to Kindness Echoes for more emotional stories that remind us humanity still exists. Ethan Harrington had built one of the largest technology companies in the country. Newspapers admired his wealth, investors respected his brilliance, and the business world called him unstoppable. Yet behind every magazine cover was a lonely man carrying a wound no amount of money had ever healed. Decades earlier, he had been a poor college student deeply in love with a young woman named Lily. Life had separated them after a terrible misunderstanding. A sudden family tragedy forced Ethan to leave town, and before he could return, he learned that Lily had disappeared. Every search ended in failure, and eventually he buried himself in work, convincing himself she had moved on. Years later, while traveling to inspect one of his company's new projects, Ethan stopped at a small roadside diner after his chauffeur insisted they take a break. He expected nothing more than coffee before another exhausting meeting. Instead, fate quietly waited behind the counter wearing a pink waitress uniform. The young waitress, Emily, worked double shifts every day. She was only 22, but responsibility had aged her far beyond her years. Her mother suffered from chronic illness, medical bills kept piling up, and every dollar Emily earned disappeared before the month ended. Still, she greeted every customer with genuine warmth because she believed kindness cost nothing even when life took everything. When Ethan accidentally dropped his ring onto the table, Emily noticed the detailed crest immediately. Her heartbeat raced because she had polished the exact same symbol on her mother's old silver ring hundreds of times since childhood. Her mother always treated that ring like a priceless treasure, refusing to explain where it came from except to say it belonged to someone who once changed her life forever. Emily gathered enough courage to mention it. She never imagined her simple observation would cause the billionaire sitting across from her to freeze completely. Ethan stared into her eyes, searching for something familiar. Her smile, her gentle voice, and even the way she nervously tucked her hair behind her ear reminded him painfully of Lily. Instead of returning to his meeting, Ethan quietly asked about Emily's mother. Emily hesitated because strangers rarely cared about their family, but something in his expression felt sincere. She explained that her mother lived in a small rented house outside town, rarely leaving because of her fragile health. For the first time in years, Ethan canceled every appointment on his calendar. His executives were stunned, but nothing mattered more than the possibility growing inside his heart. During the drive to Emily's home, memories flooded back, old promises beneath oak trees, dreams of building a future together, and the silver rings they had exchanged before life pulled them apart. The little house stood quietly at the end of a narrow road surrounded by wildflowers. It looked worn by time, but every flowerbed was carefully maintained despite obvious hardship. When the front door slowly opened, Ethan forgot how to breathe. Standing before him was Lily. Time had painted silver into her hair and softened the brightness of her youthful face, yet her eyes were unmistakably the same. She looked at Ethan in complete disbelief before her gaze dropped to the familiar ring resting on his trembling hand. Tears filled both their eyes before either of them could speak. Their reunion uncovered decades of heartbreaking misunderstandings. Lily revealed she had searched for Ethan too, believing he had abandoned her after receiving pressure from his wealthy relatives. She discovered she was pregnant only after he disappeared. Without money or support, she moved away to protect her unborn child from the painful rumors surrounding their relationship. Ethan listened with tears streaming down his face. Every lonely birthday, every sleepless night, every achievement that had felt strangely empty suddenly made sense. The daughter he never knew existed had unknowingly served him coffee only hours earlier. Emily stood quietly in the corner as the truth unfolded.